pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moment of silence. Alrighty, we're ready to go. We have some procedural things here, so we have to open a couple public hearings and then continue them. So first one, calling the Coos County, or opening a meeting of the Coos County Library Service District budget hearing. I need a motion. Oh, you've got a thing. I tried to skip Megan.
You said library, right?
Yep, library.
Okay. So this is the hearing on the 2026-27 budget that was approved by the Budget Committee on April 1st. We just have to ask for public comment on the budget if anybody has any.
We have public comment on the library services budget. We do have one.
So far.
So far. You already beating him up?
Well, I accidentally kicked a stick, but that might be a major crime.
That's fair.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is David Jennings. I live here in Coquille. And I think you've probably all heard from me before that I've had concerns about the district's direction under the new formula. I'm not going to berate that too much, except again to remind you that Coquille's the third largest city in the county. And we have an out-of-city population because the way that one of the formula thing that's real important to the funding is that you get credit for supposedly the population that you serve, and that can be divided for cities, of course, into the city population, into the out-of-city population. Bandon has well more people that it serves outside of the city, according to the formula, as does Myrtle Point. Coquille, in turn, has a total of 835 people, or at least from last year's stats. I haven't revised them from then, in addition to what it serves in the city. So it has a very small population. And as I've said before, that part of the formula is just wildly skewed, and it's not accurate. And I think in the long run, it'll do a lot of damage to the library. And I think the formula in general will lead to very unequal results the longer this whole thing plays out. I don't want to go back through all the different arguments explaining why that's true. I'll probably provide you something at some point in writing that details that I realize you're busy, but since you are the governing body of the library district, I think you have to be aware of that. Washington County last year, that has a cooperative library system that's funded by serial levies, changed a lot of their formula in the direction of some of the arguments that people such as myself have made about why you cannot take small libraries and directly compete them with big libraries in a number of categories and expect anything else but a dramatic deterioration in the long run of services from the smaller libraries. And there's a lot of controversy over this, but Washington County rebalanced that. It doesn't mean necessarily that other people are going to agree with that, but there's a strong case for that. One of the reasons they did that is they said that the State Library of Oregon recommended that kind of practice. And I realize those arguments were made and rejected with the formula when it was adopted. But I also, in closing, want to remind you that actually that formula was adopted first by the librarians and then by the county library board, which of course is advisory, clear back in 2019. So that formula is already 7 years old, and it just isn't equitable. And there are other parts of it that I think will lead to results that will be very undesirable for some of the local libraries. And I think you need to continually keep those factors in mind and think about the direction the district is going. Again, I realize you're very busy, but at the same time, you're ultimately responsible for this wonderful library district we have. And thank you for listening to my concerns, and I'm sure even though probably you get tired of it, you'll be hearing from me on this issue again. Have a good day.
That's pretty good. 2 minutes, 57 seconds.
Well, I think it's important to try to be succinct, except occasionally when I'm not.
Yeah, the material in writing is always appreciated for me.
I mean, you can look at it, peruse it very quickly, or
Yeah.
go into depth on it. It's something you have in hand. But
I
anyway,
appreciate it.
just wanted to make that point today, and thank you very much.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Thanks, David.
Any further? Any online? Okay. Yeah, I know I've mostly heard from Coquille and Powers on this one. So, if we have no discussion up here, I'd take a motion, I believe, to, or, no,
No.
okay,
Just close the hearing.
Just to
okay.
hear it.
I'll close the hearing. I was gonna take a motion to close the hearing. I can just do it myself. Okay, I'll close that hearing and,
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, we got
Yes, sir.
comments that the
Uh-huh.
audio is not on online
Uh-oh.
for these folks. Is that still
Hi.
true?
Caroline just told me I'm looking at it.
Okay, we're working on it.
huh. John, is your mic on? Okay.
Yep.
Mine was off when I got here. Nobody wants to hear me.
Well, I think the online is actually picking up off of the owl mics, though.
Well, it's definitely getting it
now
now.
there's some audio coming.
Quick, slap the owl.
There's a hand up.
Okay. Who's that
It
one?
is Margaret F.
Okay. Can we? Margaret, can you unmute? Or I suppose I should ask if you can hear me.
Now the hand is gone.
Wah, wah.
Hi.
Hey.
Okay, we just got audio.
Yep.
Good.
Okay.
Did you have comments on the library district? Huh.
Maybe Margaret just wanted to tell us that our
I think
audio
so.
was up now.
That was a short enough blip. I think it was a no. It was a dot, not a dash.
Right.
Alrighty. So we will move on, opening the Coos County 4-H and Extension Service District budget hearing.
This is the hearing on the 2026-2027 budget that was approved by the Budget Committee on April 1st, 2026. We just need to ask for public comment.
Questions, comments, concerns on the 4-H and Extension Service District budget meeting, hearing, that one. I think I'm getting to the point of needing readers.
Welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I was mistaken for my child's grandpa. Now I need readers. Okay. Hearing none, I'll close the hearing on 4-H and Extension Service District and open the hearing on the Coos County budget hearing. Okay, then.
This is the hearing on the 2026-2027 budget that was approved by the Budget Committee on April 1st, 2026. We just need to ask for public comment.
Do we have public comment on the Coos County budget hearing? And any online? I can see our blip when we talk. It's good to know they can hear me now. You poor people. Alrighty. Hearing none, I will close the hearing on Coos County budget hearing. I want to see how many times I can say hearing.
What?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Megan. Next, request approval of did I have to reopen the public meeting? Okay. Request approval of amendment number 1 to IGA 4430000542284 with Oregon Health Authority and authorize acting director to sign. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Morning, Dr. Lynch.
What's up, Doc?
So we do have a change to the amendment. As said, the change is to increase to $355,323.85. This makes out to be about $40,000 increase, specific to civic commitment, and some changes to aid and assist with our behavioral health teams.
Mr. Chair, move to approve the Amendment 1 to Intergovernmental Agreement Number 44300-000542884 with Oregon Health Authority and authorize Acting Director Dr. Tim Lynch to DocuSign.
I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Memory assist for me related to aid and assist and civil commitment. Is this related to the CFAA?
This is, yep. And this is
Okay.
some changes in just the funding transition of where they want to focus on
Okay.
with our behavioral health teams. Now, the $40,000 will cover the rest of this year in that civil commitment as well as next year. That's the additional funds.
Okay.
So the agenda item refers to an increase of 355,000, not just 40,000.
Yep, that's an increase from the original the budget. As far as I was made aware, that was the amendment to increase it. And they were increasing it by 40,000 for the civil commitment only.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
So it's more than, we get the full 355,
Yes.
not just the 40. All right. Well, that's good.
Yep. This is the,
Let's maybe a short background on how this amendment came by, as the state has been paranoid around their CFAA.
so I have the contract here. What they did is they ended up changing the language for the 26-27 intergovernment agreement. They changed their focus as far as where they wanted the behavioral health teams to stand up and do a little additional work. They changed that language at the end of our contract on this agreement.
And they being the Oregon Health
OHA,
Authority.
yes. Yep.
Oregon Health Authority.
Okay. Any further? Or public comments? Exciting contract stuff? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Next one, request approval of contract with Kids Hope Center. Corrections. There we are.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Jenny.
How are you, Jenny?
Good. How are you guys?
Good.
Awesome.
Good, good.
Good.
We just got more money, so it's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So Kids Hope Center is the only child advocacy center in our area, and they're deeply committed to providing a safe haven and powerful support for children and their families. They exist to reduce child abuse, and our Justice Reinvestment Program grant funds 50% FTE child and family advocate position. So hoping you will approve and sign the contract. It's in the amount of $20,906.75.
I move we approve and sign the contract for the Kids Hope Center Victims Services in the amount of $20,906.75.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion.
I'm a broken record when it comes to the Kids Hope Center. This center is where children that have been abused and neglected go for mental health, physical health, and interrogation. As best I recall, in our little county of some 62,000 people, the center handles about 400 cases a year. And they tell me that typically only 2 out of every 3 neglect and abuse cases are identified. Well, this is a very important organization, dealing with a very, very sad part of our county's population. And I'm glad we can help.
Yes.
Agreed. Public comment. And seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
By the way, that's more than one abused child a day, to give you a little perspective.
Next one, request approval of contract with the SAFE Project.
Safe Project is our other victim service provider. They provide support, education, and healing to hundreds of domestic violence and sex abuse survivors each year. They're designed to assist victims of domestic violence and sexual assault at a moment's notice. And our Justice Reinvestment Program grant funds 0.38 FTE outreach advocate position. So we ask that you approve and sign the contract for the SAFE Project Victim Services in the amount of $20,906.75.
Mr. Chair, move to approve and sign the contract for Safe Project Victim Services in the amount of $20,906.75.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. I'll just note from my.
Is this 4D now we're on?
4C.
C, okay, sorry, I got ahead of myself. All right. Excuse me.
I was kind of hoping after the last one, for the Kids Hope Center, I was hoping the next one might be for an Elders Hope Center, Commissioner Suite, but I don't see that, and so I guess we'll have
There's
to
a
go
dire
with it
need for that, I
as
can
it is.
tell you.
Just a story about working with the SAFE Project when I was running Orca. It happens a lot in the social services side. You end up working with SAFE a little bit, but we had a lady come in for services, and in talking with one of our case managers, kind of some circumstances in her life came up, and the abuser was in the car outside waiting for her to come back out. So what we ended up having to do, or no, I'm sorry, he was in the lobby at the time. He went to wait in the car because we told him that she needed to use the bathroom and that the one in the lobby was broken for women. So we took her in the back of the building where we have a locked door separating it from the front, made sure we had personnel in the front, and snuck the lady out the back to the SAFE Project. It can be a very complicated process, but we appreciate that we called them, told them the situation, and they were ready. There was no delay.
That's
As
awesome.
soon as we found out, they found out, we snuck her out the back door. I went and talked to the fellow to let him know he can leave now.
I'll bet that loser was big mad.
I think he was too drunk,
Oh. All right.
but yeah, he didn't stick around. He got the message. Anyway, all
story.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And last one, request approval of contract with Justice Consulting Consortium.
So Justice is going to provide community corrections with a professional analysis. They're going to assess our current practices, identify any priority areas for improvement, and develop a strategic plan aligned with evidence-based community corrections and juvenile standards. Contract amount is $8,600. And we ask that you approve and sign this contract.
I move that we approve and sign a contract for technical assistance for community corrections from Justice Consulting Consortium, LLC.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Public comment. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Request approval to declare equipment as surplus and auction/donate. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Sean.
We are doing some spring cleaning. And the first item here, we're requesting several vehicles and some outdated gas launchers be auctioned or otherwise declared surplus so we can go ahead and get rid of them. You can see there's a large number here. I'll be happy to field any questions here if anybody has them.
think so. 37 millimeters is about the size of a potato.
Roughly,
Ah,
roughly, depending on the potatoes that you get.
good to know.
Not sure you would want to use one for a potato gun, though.
You got potatoes au gratin, it'll be shredded.
I move that we declare equipment numbers 162270, 162275, 162282, 162297, 162301, 164022, 210014, tags number V0461, tag number W0054, tag number W0275, and tag number W0068 as surplus, and authorized equipment numbers 162275 and 164022 to Hauser Rural Fire Department and Central Coos Rural Fire Department respectively, and authorize auction or salvage of all other listed equipment.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion.
A lot of numbers. So what are we giving to Hauser and Central Coos RFPD?
We are giving Hauser a 2008 Chevy Tahoe that has fairly high mileage but is in decent shape. As we all know, they recently had a tragedy with a lot of their equipment having been destroyed or in the fire, so we'd like to help out in that regard. And we're giving, let me find the right one here, a 2011 Ford Expedition to Central Coos RFPD, also with several miles on it, but in good condition. The rest of them are, can't say that they're in good condition. They've been driven pretty much to the end of their life.
Okay.
Related to vehicle surplus, I was talking with one of the neighborhood watches, and they're interested in trying to get a surplus police vehicle, preferably that still has the light, so that it, looks. They can brand it Neighborhood Watch, and it looks somewhat official. How do we interact with neighborhood watches as far as surplus? Do we reach out to them? Did we reach out to the fire protection district? How do we
So-
do that?
Currently, we are engaged with one neighborhood watch, and that's Hauser's.
Okay.
And we have a deputy that's assigned as a liaison between the sheriff's office and them. And that's the only one I'm aware of at this point. All the other ones are kind of, perhaps a phone tree or, a text tree, as it were, identifying issues, but they call themselves a neighborhood watch. There's actually a process, and several of them are 501c3s and all of that type of thing.
Okay. I'll let folks know it's the newer of the Empire watches attached to the coalition of Empire. So,
Yeah. I think that there's a process, though I'm not.
These folks are a little more process minded than some of their predecessors.
I'm not completely hip to the entire process.
Okay, cool. Any public comment? Yes, sir.
Just where do you get a list of this stuff?
So the county uses an auction site. I don't recall what it's called off the top of my head.
Public surplus.
Public surplus, yes. And that's where we will auction the ones that are auctionable and won't be salvaged by a salvage company.
Bill wants the grenade launcher.
Yeah. There's all sorts of comments we could and jokes we could make about gas launchers in this room, but I will.
I'll
leave that right there.
Are those controlled in any way?
What, I'm sorry.
Are those controlled in any way, or are
Less
they
so
just?
with age.
No, not that I'm aware of.
Yeah. Okay.
The 37 millimeter in the 80s and early 90s was industry standard, but now it's 40 millimeter, and the cartridges and stuff for the 37 millimeter are difficult to find and expensive now.
as a civilian, you can buy, I think, a M203 undermounted launcher. You just can't buy the grenades for it.
Right.
But they make smoke and gas.
You have to make your
smoke,
own, I guess.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Online. Okie dokie. Call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And, one more. Request approval to declare OHV as salvage and authorize sale to Sire Power Sports.
So our Yamaha YXZ was involved in an incident out in the dunes. The cost to fix it is more than the cost that it would be to replace it. Recently, we did get a grant to get two new side-by-sides. We've already gotten one of them. So this one has been in service since I was in the dunes, which was many moons ago, and was fairly close to replacement anyway. Sire Power Sports has offered to purchase it for $3,500, which we deem to be a pretty darn good deal, and they'll use it for parts.
Cool.
I move we approve deeming the YXZ as salvage and authorize the sale of it to Sire Power Sports for the amount of $3,500.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion.
Tell me about the accident. What happened?
So we had a deputy learning to operate a side-by-side in the dunes, and he gotten himself into a area he probably shouldn't have been in, and ended up, I think it was a tree. But everybody was safe, but the frame was not good.
Did it roll over into the tree?
I think it rolled, yeah. As I recall, he hit the brakes, which is a bad idea out in the dunes, and ended up doing it.
Can we keep some old ones around for training?
No. No, probably a good idea. Unfortunately, I don't think that this one would be suitable for that.
Well, I wasn't suggesting this one, but
Give them something not so new to wreck.
Yeah.
Okay. Public comment? Seeing none, all in favor?
I
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion passes.
Thank you,
Just
Captain.
checking in real quick, Sean. Gabe gave me an update yesterday, but the situation that happened out in Millington. Although deputies are okay.
Yes.
Correct.
No, everybody is safe. We're in the process. I think the investigation is more or less complete.
Okay.
So everybody knows, we had an officer-involved shooting this past week. The suspect was not hit, nor was any officers injured. But there's a process that must be gone through investigatively, both on the officers and on the situation that brought us there, that we have to work through. So we're nearly done with that, gathering reports. North Bend Police Department has been identified as the case agency, and they will be receiving all those, then distributed back out. And then there's several things that we need to do in terms of policy once these things happen to finish up our end of things and review it.
My understanding is the individual had come out of the house refusing to drop his firearm.
He tried to lure Sergeant Slater into him, and where the way it was set up, there was a single wide trailer with a side door, a stairwell coming out and away from the road, but it was covered. There was all plywood. You couldn't see where he was at behind, in the stairwell. As he was trying to lure Sergeant Slater in, he came around the corner with a firearm and actually pointed the firearm at Sergeant Slater, at which point Sergeant Slater discharged his weapon into that plywood, as well as an OSP trooper.
The trooper.
You mean the trooper
Shot
also
the plywood.
discharged?
Yeah. I'm sorry. The trooper also fired upon seeing the threat to Sergeant Slater.
I'm glad we're not shooting at him.
No, that would be a bad day.
Words and their order matter.
Everything worked out pretty well. We got residents evacuated from the area down to Millington Fire, and then as we were preparing to come up with a plan to take him into custody, which would involve some of the gas that we were talking about.
Yeah.
He ended up starting coming in and out. He was finally taken into custody. The next time he came out, a taser was deployed, and he was safely taken into custody. So nobody was hurt, which is the most important thing.
It takes a lot of discipline when you've been exchanging fire to switch to your taser and trust that it's going to work.
Yeah.
All right, just figured I'd get the update on that.
Yep.
The public is aware of some of the things y'all encounter.
Once everything's done, I imagine there'll be a press release being put out.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Captain.
Yep. Moving to the consent calendar.
Move approval of the consent calendar.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Public discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion passes. Do we have any late items? Oh, wow. All righty. Well, that's good news. That moves us on to commissioner comments, followed by citizen comments. Commissioner comments. Who did I start with last time? I think it was you, Ron, so I'll bug John.
Last couple of weeks have been pretty much absorbed with campaign type things, and also, as I think most of you know, I was diagnosed with cancer and getting on top of the treatment for that, and that started and seems to be going well. Pretty simple, just hormone treatment at the time. Must be working. I got invited to 2 Mother's Day weekend dinners. Hasn't got to the point where the other 2 commissioners are hitting on me. I'm thankful for that. And
We just want you to stop
I'm
crying.
doing well.
I'm gonna stay out of that one.
That's all.
Okay.
I got more jokes, but I'm not gonna do that.
Thank you.
Well, I have a topic of greater gravity
Thank you.
to address. I want to mention a name, and the name is Michael Fanone. This is not a local issue so much, but a national one that does have carry import locally. Michael Fanone was a U.S. Capitol Police officer who testified in the January 6 trials that Congress put on, their dog and pony show. And in his testimony, Officer Fanone spoke about multiple serious injuries that he received at the hands of the crowd at January 6th at the U.S. Capitol. This week, Officer Fanone's body cam footage was released in its entirety, and it completely dispels the testimony that he made before Congress. Michael Fanone is guilty of perjury before Congress. This is not an incident that stands alone as it relates to the January 6th incident. This is not something that I've really spoken about from the dais before. But one of the common themes that is promulgated regarding January 6th is that police officers were injured and killed at that incident. There were 6 officers that did sustain some injuries. There were no officers that were killed. The contention that they were is an absolute lie. The one officer who did die 2 days after the incident died of a stroke. It was reported that he was hit over the head with a fire extinguisher by protesters at the Capitol. That also is a lie. I know that's a lie because I was standing right outside the doors of the east portico of the U.S. Capitol at the time that Officer Brian Sicknick was passed out through those doors by people who had entered the building illegally, admittedly, but they were seeking to help him, and they handed him out through the door in the midst of the dense crowd. And I was one of the two people who took Officer Sicknick by his arm and assisted him across the veranda to a group of other officers. As soon as I saw him, I saw that there was something wrong, and I presumed that he was having a stroke because that's what it looked like. And so this fellow and I escorted Officer Sicknick across to this other group of officers about 50 feet away from us, handed him off, and I said, I think this guy's having a stroke. I think you want to get him to a doctor. I am party to some testimony from another individual who encountered Brian Sicknick later in the day. This guy's actually an EMT who was there with us, other protesters, and he saw, about 4 hours after I handed him off, he saw Officer Sicknick and saw on his face the signs that he was having a stroke experience. And he went over and spoke to this now different group of officers and said, I think this guy's having a stroke. You better get him to some medical attention. Brian Sicknick didn't see a doctor until the next day. That's why he died of a stroke. Not because of anything that any protester did, but because of the lack of attention and medical care at the hands of his compatriots. There are so many lies about the day of January 6th and what happened. Lies that President Trump encouraged people to go and violently protest, with news clips that conveniently cut out when President Trump said, I know many of you are going to march peacefully and patriotically up to the Capitol to make your voices heard. He never encouraged anybody to go and break down the barriers. In fact, those barriers were broken down by individuals that I saw and interacted with, because I was there starting at 8 o'clock in the morning that day, and I was there until almost dark. And I saw it all. And the reality is that those barricades were broken down by agents provocateurs, not by actual protesters. And I could go into great detail about the interactions with those agents provocateurs, how I knew who they were and recognized their actions. But I am here to tell you that the lies about January 6th are about to be exposed and undone, and you better buckle up, because it runs deep and we've all been lied to. So that's all I have today, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Some of what I've been up to, had meetings around the Elliott State Research Forest. That is the former Shutter Creek. Talking with the director of Department of State Lands yesterday about how that can be an asset to the community here locally. The intent right now, they're doing timber harvests, and they're going to be selling carbon credits on property that is not suitable for harvest to reinvest into the facility. Now, thankfully, they're paying for one half a deputy through a contract. They've been happy with that, and after talking with them, they're going to look at how they can put money into another half, or possibly more than that, because they'd like to expand the reach and service. So that'll help us fund a deputy position. Some work around opportunity zones as an economic development driver that doesn't involve property tax. That's important for us because property tax is our general fund. Had a meeting. We've had an issue. Megan is there, around ONC payments. We usually receive them around April. Still have not received those. That tells us nothing, because we don't know how much money we'll get. Yeah, so I had a meeting and was able to set up a meeting with staff from Senator Wyden's office. They're going to try and decouple our receipts payment from Secure Rural Schools payment and get us the money in a more prompt fashion. I appreciate being supported by our glorious finance director / treasurer, who keeps me in line and knows the smarter numbers than me. Some discussions around transient lodging tax, economic conference last Friday. last Friday. In Newport, there's a business that wants to find 200 collective acres in one of the counties on the Oregon coast. So I've directed them with SCDC, talk to them. Senator David Brock Smith was also talking to them about bringing that development into Coos County. Would be a new type of development, a new business that creates cattle feed that reduces the methane emissions of the cattle, and it's healthier for them. So that would be nice. Some meetings around military housing. So I've been meeting with the National Guard and the Coast Guard about developing more military housing in the area. Coast Guard is likely to expand if the port project goes through, and they already have shortages for junior staff. And the National Guard, we should see the troops return to the armory in Coos Bay within 2 years. So they will also need places for their personnel to live. So both entities are looking at their economic tools to promote housing development in Coos County. Those have been some of the highlights of the last couple weeks for me. And that takes us to public comment. First one I have is Phil. I'm going to start making you sit closer to the front, or I'm going to move the podium over
You
there.
need somebody to pack a mic to us around here.
Or at least make him quit hitting your cane.
Phil Thompson, Coos Bay.
Morning, Phil.
Or,
Since Mr. Taylor gave his opinion on January the 6th, I guess we're talking about, and all of that stuff was lies, well, there was about 1,600 of them convicted by a jury of their peers. So I don't think many of them had a right to do much crying, but I see not my president, Donald Trump has got $1.8 million for a big slush fund to pay these people that think they've been wrong, not prove that they were done wrong, but just to say they were done wrong. That's the way I've interpreted it from the TV. Now, Rod, maybe you can help the county here. You was there. You got a citation for what, a curfew? Was it a curfew test? Somebody said.
Yeah, I got a curfew violation
Okay.
when I tried to show video of police officers beating women with their batons. Yeah.
Well, maybe you can help the county put in, get a $200,000 or $300,000 and donate it to the budget. I mean, but the rest
I
of
don't
this
follow
stuff,
the logic, but okay.
my opinion of the rest of this stuff, I believe somebody tried to overthrow my government on January the 6th. And that's what I believe. Nobody's going to change me because what I saw on TV and everything else, you can make any kind of stories and they can say what they wanted to. Yes, there was an attempt, and I say hang Pence, the vice president. That's not lies. That's true. Catch you guys later. Thank you.
all right. Thank you, Phil.
Okay.
And that'll take us to David Jennings. All righty. Jenny Malum.
Oh, me?
You wrote your name on citizen comments.
I did?
Okay.
Now you must comment.
I thought I signed in.
Oh, that's okay.
Comment.
That was the list. Any from the floor? Any additional? Or any online? Yeah. Seeing none. I think that takes us to the end. Meeting adjourned.